Well, we've just gone live with the opening ceremony of the club's New South Wales opening ceremony for the Academy Games, and there is a huge crowd, an audience in at Scholastic Sports Stadium. My name's Ian Rebillard. I'm the Managing Director of the Central Coast Academy of Sport, and it's nice to welcome you here this evening. And alongside me is Les Hornery from VPA, the specialists in live streaming major events. And good afternoon, Les.
Yeah, good evening, Ian, and I'm going to call you Ian, a bit more formal tonight. I would normally call you Moose, but people might think that we're in the zoo. Here we are, mate, downtown Terrigal, and now I know a lot of people probably have seen Terrigal when they've been flicking through their brochures to go on holidays, so that's where we are tonight.
Well, it's a great venue here. It's a four-court stadium. It is absolutely full to the brim, so we've got a lot of guests have come to the Central Coast, obviously. The competition will start immediately after the opening ceremony, which promises to be a really, really nice event. So the stage is really set. We've got just under 800 athletes out on the second court being mustered together so that they can arrive on court one in an orderly fashion. We've got a really good array of speakers. Martin Bullock, the chairman of the Regional Academy of Sport Network, will officially welcome guests. We have a welcome to country by one of the Academy athletes, Piper Nolan. We have a very young lady to do the national anthem. Peter Newell, OAM, the chairman of Clubs New South Wales, will be speaking, as will Scott McDonald, the Parliamentary Secretary, Government Representative for the Central Coast and the Hunter region. So the stage is really set. We're waiting on our MC, Mr. Steve Allen. We couldn't really get anyone better than Steve to perform the MC duties in a major event like this. He's normally found at the State of Origin Rugby League. He does the court announcing for the Sydney Swifts. He also does the court announcing, or the field announcing, for the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. So Steve is really looking forward to tonight as well.
Look, Ian, I think I'm looking at my running sheet here, 5:50. So whatever you're doing at 5:50, go and grab coffee. Come in. I actually had the privilege of listening to this. Listening to this young Jacinta practicing the national anthem. So that's why I'm saying she comes on at 5:50. So she's worth listening to. She's about as high as the plinth, but I tell you what, when you hear her, she just rocks out a tune. Here's Steve. Now, what we're going to do is we'll just basically silence ourselves, and we'll hand over to Steve. I've got an audio mic that'll pick Steve up, and we'll have a bit of a look.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good evening, and welcome to Scholastic Sports Centre here in Terrigal at the 10th annual Clubs New South Wales Academy Games. It's our pleasure to host here on the Central Coast in 2015. What an event this will be. Over 700 athletes, 6 sports right across the weekend, and we kick it off tonight with a couple of games of basketball. 4 teams in action here at Scholastic Sports Stadium tonight in Terrigal. Well, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome our VIP party. We'd like to ask each of them to take their seats here tonight. And we start with Peter Newell, OAM, the chairman of Clubs New South Wales. Would you please make him welcome? Also joining us tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Martin Bullock, Razzie chairman. Would you please make him welcome? One of our keynote speakers tonight, Scott McDonald, MLC, New South Wales Parliamentary Secretary for the Central Coast and also the Hunter. Would you please make him welcome tonight? The crowd favourite here in Terrigal, ladies and gentlemen, and right across the Central Coast, the inaugural coach of the Central Coast Mariners when they first formed back in 2005. Would you please give it up tonight for Laurie McKenna, the Mayor of Gosford City. Could you keep that applause going tonight for Lynn Webster joining us, the Deputy Mayor of Wyong Shire Council. Nice to see you, Lynn. Thank you for joining us tonight on behalf of Wyong Shire Council. And last but certainly not least, ladies and gentlemen, the former Central Coast Academy of Sport athlete, a Commonwealth Games gold medalist in Delhi in 2010 in the 4x400 metre relay. Would you please make welcome Kevin Moore? Good to see you, Kevin. Thanks for joining us tonight. Looking forward to hearing from you a little bit later on tonight. Well, it's time to welcome the stars of the show. They are the athletes of the 2015 Clubs New South Wales Academy Games. We'll start with the flag bearers tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have in the blue, Josh Morgan joining us. Thank you, Josh. Jamal Shoad in the gold colours. I'm informed that he's an outstanding young basketball player. Bridie Hudson joining us, the daughter of Timmy Hudson. And Kira is wearing the Sydney Kings colours. Would you please welcome our flag bearers tonight? Now we start, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking to the camera here. We're broadcasting live. This is going on the web. In fact, a lot of these sports this weekend will be streamed live, so you can jump online and watch a lot of the action across the weekend. We start tonight with the Hunter Academy of Sport. Would you please make them welcome? Commencing its operations in 1988, the Hunter Academy of Sport is the largest regional academy in Australia, with an average of 600 talented young sports people from the region now participating in 28 talent development programs annually. The pool of athletes is taken from the Hunter region, comprising of 11 town councils. Specialising in elite pathway sporting pursuits, the academy is also very proud of its athletes with a disability and its athletes in disadvantaged situation programs, which aim to provide opportunities to those in need and in endeavour to create a healthier lifestyle for youth in the Hunter region. The academy is also providing advice in areas such as sports administration, coaching, refereeing or umpiring.
So Ian, the Hunters just north of the Central Coast here.
Well, they're a bordering academy and they've undergone a recent management change. This is one of their larger teams they've sent to the academy games. So, you know, Brett O'Farrell, the new CEO, and his staff have certainly made an impact straight away. They're obviously a large region. They're very strong in netball. They'll be a team in netball to watch as we hear the applause for them. But also they've got a very strong contingent for triathlon. So they're represented in 4 sports across the weekend.
It's a massive area, the Hunter, isn't it, Ian? It's very rich in sporting history, of course, in the Hunter.
Well, it is, and a lot of great athletes have come through the Hunter Academy of Sport. You know, they're one of the larger academies, like the Illawarra, who are just coming in now. You know, they're celebrating 30 years of operation this year. They've got a very large contingent. They've got, you know, close to 80 athletes, and again, you know, well represented in golf, hockey, netball and triathlon. So, you know, a very large contingent. You know, again, they've done a good job in their support to the Academy Games, and you can see the number of athletes dressed impeccably as they represent their region, which is also great to see.
Yeah, it looks like to me the mighty Illawarra Steelers colours there, the red and the white. So of course there must be some great athletes down in that area.
Well, there are. I mean, some of the athletes that have come through the Illawarra. I mean, in terms of Australian cricket, we should give acknowledgement to the passing of Richie Beno. But you know, Brett and Shane Lee. You've got, you know, Kookaburra, an Olympic bronze medalist, Kieran Govers. So, I mean, they've got a number of athletes in a multitude of sports. And, in fact, I think Sally Fitzgibbons has also come through the Illawarra Academy in surfing. So, very, very strong Academy of Sport.
Yeah, you can.
Swimming championships over the last week at Sydney Olympic Park. Let's make them welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Illawarra Academy of Sport. Our third academy, here they come, the North Coast Academy of Sport. Please make them welcome.
So the North Coast, and all the way, probably one of the groups that have to travel the furthest, yeah?
Well, they do. They've also got one of the largest geographical catchment regions. You know, they go up from, you know, Port Macquarie right up to the border, Lismore, Ballina. You know, so it's a very large area, but full credit to Dave Arthur and John Kincaid, the chairman and CEO of this organisation. They have been a very, very strong supporter of the Academy Games for each of the 10 years, and again this year very well represented. You know, again, it's just great to see the level of support from an organisation or an academy that really has the great tyranny of distance to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
And they're not all surfers, are they, Ian?
No, they're not. One of our growth sports is rugby union. We want to look at that because this region is very, very strong in the rugby union sporting area.
Our next academy is the Northern Inland Academy of Sport, ladies and gentlemen.
So the Northern Inland, this is one of the academies that doesn't actually tell you exactly where they're from. Of course, the big region up through Tamworth there that, again, would cover quite a distance for people travelling to training and all those sorts of things.
Well, again, yeah, and that's like the North Coast. It's a very large area. You know, the office is centred in Tamworth, but they take in adjoining areas like Gunnedah, Armidale, which has hosted the Academy Games. They're very, very strong in sports such as hockey, netball. They've got a few unusual sports like bull riding as well, which is unique to them. They're represented with 3 sports here and around 70 athletes on show over this weekend. So, you know, again, it'll be a good test for them. They don't have the regular touch points that some of the geographically more advantaged academies have, but they're very well managed. They've got a very strong board, so it'll be interesting to see how NIAS perform this weekend.
No, very good, Ian, very good. As you can see, the starting to fill up here in the hall already, so I don't know where they're going to squeeze them in.
Well, it's a great challenge. This we really, the organisers, we had to do a fair job in trying to find a venue that could fit everyone in. As we see the Southern Sports Academy come into Hall 1.
Young athletes from the southwest of the state in achieving their goals. These athletes have often resided...
Like some of these other academies, I mean, this statistic, Greg McClay, their CEO, was telling me earlier, that they cover 1.5 million square kilometres in geographical area. So it like the North Coast, Northern Inland, the Western region, the far west, provides, you know, great opportunities for athletes to you know, compete with like-minded athletes, like-skilled athletes, and how they overcome the distance is a real credit to how they operate. So it's really nice to see again a very large contingent here. They're actually enjoying staying at, I'm sure they will, they're at Blue Bay up near Shelley Beach, so they've treated themselves to a very nice location in terms of accommodation.
And every athlete we're looking at here, obviously there's a set of parents that's been driving these children back and forth for hours on end, for weeks on end, for years on end, yeah?
Well, that's right. I mean, an athlete's performance is only as good as the commitment by a parent and their coaching staff. A lot of the coaches in these organisations do it in a voluntary capacity. And, you know, it's different to the level of coaching you would get in your local club. It really is trying to introduce athletes to that high performance pathway, which is so important in the development of up and coming athletes.
Yes, and here we see coming in now the Southwest Sydney Academy. Again, another very large contingent of athletes.
Yeah, it is. And again, very well represented here. They're actually the largest represented academy here this weekend. They've got over 100 athletes, and with 100 athletes you'd have around 30 support staff. It borders the Illawarra, it borders Western Sydney. They operate out of the Campbelltown region and the adjoining suburbs of Campbelltown. So it's a A little bit different. They don't have the tyranny of distance. They have a number of smaller, well, not smaller, but a smaller number of local government areas that they work within. And you can see the size of this squad. Very impressive, very, very well presented, and a real credit to the organisers at the South West Sydney Academy of Sport.
And I suppose, Ian, that's why you and I were working in sport, because it's great to see so many young, talented sportsmen and women, boys and girls. It's just, the line of athletes just doesn't stop. It just keeps going and going.
No, and all credit to the New South Wales government, because really without them these organisations, and I know firsthand that these organisations don't exist. So it's just really nice to see the support that the New South Wales government provide the dreams and aspirations of young athletes. This is an interesting group, Les. This is actually a regional netball academy specific to netball. Unfortunately, the Southeast Region Academy of Sport don't have or haven't held a netball program. So Netball New South Wales felt that the region required a catchment area to capture the up-and-coming athletes in netball, and they put the program together themselves. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how an independent academy specific to netball performs against the other academies of sport. They're competing in Division 1 only, I think, and they look very, very well presented. It'll be interesting to see how these young girls perform.
So there is the myriad of colours already starting. Have you got some sort of plan there that when they all sit down, it's actually going to spell a word out? Have you been that clever, Ian?
We're creative, but no, we're not. This team got a great cheer. This is the Western Region. I was here early today, and a lot of the parents have travelled with the Western Region. It's the Lismore, Orange, Bathurst area. Their office is in Bathurst. Len Graffs, their chairman, was here early, as was Nancy Haslop, their CEO. But like the North Coast and Northern Inland, distance is a problem, but they overcome it very well. And a very, very well represented and presented Academy of Sport here this evening.
Yeah, I think they have donned the shorts, so I think they're obviously ready to compete. They're not actually competing. Who's actually going to be doing is the basketball? Who's the two opponents this
Well, the Western Region are playing tonight, so you see some of the athletes already dressed in their playing apparel. So the Western Region boys and girls basketball are playing tonight. They're actually competing, both the boys and girls, against the Southern Sports Academy. So that'll be a good test. I'm sure that the basketballers in their group will be champing at the bit to have the court cleared and get underway with their games this evening. Well, this is the chairman of the Regional Academy of Sport Incorporated is Martin Bullock, and this is his organisation. Again, another very, very competitive group of athletes. They have a drawing population of 1.8 million. It's one of the larger drawing areas, so they really have a large talent pool from which to draw. They also have an advantage that, they don't have the geographical distances some of the more outlying regional academies have, but very, very well presented, always very, very well prepared. So I credit to Alan Walton, the chairman, and his board, and to Martin Bullock, the CEO, and his staff.
And triathlon. Let's make them welcome tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Western Sydney Academy of Sport. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, would you please make welcome tonight in Terrigal, the Central Coast Academy of Sport.
Well, a little bit biased here, Les, but our athletes, obviously being the hosts, are last in. We've got a very strong contingent tonight. We're 10 years old. We're representing in 5 sports of the 6 at the games this year. We've had really a very, very good record at the Academy Games, and it'll be really pleasing to see how our athletes perform over the next 3 days.
I can see you fidgeting there, Ian. It must be like an old rooster. Yeah, you're just proud of all the chickens running around in the hen house.
Well, I visit a lot of the programs because ultimately that's how we're measured. We don't have the numbers that other regions have. We have 2 local government areas in Gosford and Wyong. We have 330 population of 330,000. So it's not like the 1.8 million that the Western Sydney can draw from. But we're well known for punching well above our weight, and I'm pretty sure that this weekend you'll see the same from our athletes. So yep, I'm nervous, but it's a nervous energy that I'm hoping they just perform to the best of their ability. They look fantastic. They're always well presented, and makes me very proud to sit up here and talk about them.
Well, that's you're allowed to be proud, mate. That's what it's all about. So, as you can see now, we're looking at a full picture. All the athletes are in. So very soon we're going to turn off our mics, and we're basically just going to listen to the dignitaries run through their program, and Ian and I will come back and finish off in a second.
I mentioned earlier we have 4 keynote speakers tonight. We also have Susie with the selfie stick, who's going to take a photo a little bit later on tonight and try to get absolutely everyone in so we can put it up on social media. But first, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Welcome to Country, and I'd like to invite to the microphone from the Central Coast Academy of Sport, the netball program. Would you please welcome Piper Nolan. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Piper Nolan.
Member of the Central Coast Academy of Sport netball squad. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land on which the Academy Games take place, and also pay respect to elders past, present and future. Thank you.
Piper Nolan, ladies and gentlemen, with the Welcome to Country. Now it's time for the National Anthem of Australia. Would you please welcome to the microphone Jacinta Burley, age 11. Jacinta, no backing music. She's going to do the National Anthem a cappella. I think she deserves a massive round of applause tonight. Jacinta's performed at going off at the Swamp, and a warm welcome to you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the National Anthem of Australia. Wow, what about that, ladies and gentlemen? Jacinta Burley. Oh, that was incredible. Her voice just soaring here at Scholastic Stadium tonight at the opening of the 2015 Clubs New South Wales Academy Games. Well, let's get to our keynote speakers tonight, and we'll start, ladies and gentlemen, with Mr. Martin Bullock, Chairman of RASI, to welcome our VIPs, athletes and guests. Would you please make Martin Bullock welcome?
Thanks, Steve. Hello, everybody. Before I get started, can I just say how wonderful it is to see all these athletes marching in here, proudly wearing their academy clothing, proudly representing their sports, and proudly representing their family and their local community. It's just fabulous and great to see. Thank you to all our athletes. Firstly, it's my pleasure to be able to represent all 11 regional academies that operate across New South Wales. RASI is the acronym for Regional Academies of Sport Incorporated. It's not that well known, but we just call ourselves the academies. So it's my pleasure to talk on their behalf at the 10th annual Clubs New South Wales Academy Games. It is a bit of a landmark for us. When we established these games, we were looking to try and develop an opportunity to bring all our athletes together and celebrate their inclusion and their participation in our academy programs and make it a showcase. I think quite clearly we've been able to do that over the 10 years, and this year's roll-up and participation numbers is exceptional for us. Before I get underway, I'd like to mention and recognise there are many dignitaries here with us this evening. Too many for me to name, but there are a couple in particular I would like to recognise. Firstly, all academies receive tremendous support from the New South Wales Government, significant grant funds and in-kind support from them. The Minister for Sport, John Stewart Ayres, couldn't be with us this evening, but representing him and the New South Wales Government, I'd like to welcome the Member of the Legislative Council, Mr Scott McDonald, who's the Parliamentary Secretary for the Hunter and the Central Coast. If we could welcome Scott. On a local government scale, we're very fortunate to have the support of both the Gosford City and the Wyong Shire councils for these games, and to have the Lord Mayor, Mr Laurie McKenna, the Gosford City Council, and the Deputy Mayor, Lynn Webster, from Wyong Shire with us this evening is testament to their support for the academies and the academy games, so I'd certainly like to recognise them. I mentioned that this is the 10th year of the Academy Games. It's also the 10th year that we have received the support as our major partner, our naming rights partner in these games, Clubs New South Wales. They're just a fabulous partner for the general community, for the country, and certainly for sport and our academies. Their support has been strong and unwavering over those 10 years. I'd like to make special mention of their chairman, Peter Newell, OAM, who's here with us this evening and rarely misses an academy event. So I'd love to recognise and welcome Peter as well. And just finally, we do have with us this evening, they rarely get a mention, but these regional academies operate as not-for-profit organisations, and all our directors and chairpeople are volunteers. And with us this evening we have a couple of chairpersons from regional academies, and I'd like to recognise them. We have Alan Welton, AO, who's the chair of the Western Sydney Academy, Dr Dave Arthur, who's the chair of the North Coast Academy, Guy Gray from the Northern Inland Academy, Brian Weir, the president of the Illawarra Academy. So welcome to those chairpersons. Now, as I mentioned, the Academy Games developed as an opportunity to be a showcase for our regional academy athletes. It certainly is that. You've seen them put in the showcase window this evening, but over the next 2 days you're going to see some significant, some very competitive tournaments happening across a range of sports. This is a demonstration, from our perspective, a demonstration of what these academies are able to achieve, what these athletes are able to achieve with our academies. It's not just about coming along and getting some clothing and going and playing a few games. Our programs look after the holistic development of athletes, be it personal development, technical development, educational development, all major platforms for our programs. really happy that these athletes can come along and demonstrate their skills here. But as the chair of the Academy Collective, it's important that you know there's a whole lot more to what goes on in our Academy programs. I often quote statistics, but they are significant. Across New South Wales, every year, over 2,000, nearly 2,500 athletes receive Academy scholarships and put through programs. Every year, regional academies engage over 500 volunteers in our programs on an annual basis. Some academies have been going for nearly 30 years. From the programs that we have a range of over 29, 30 sports and annually over 120 programs are implemented with all these academies. So these numbers are significant. I can also say that our regional academies have a proven track record in the development of athletes. I asked a couple of academies just to give me some names of their highest achieving athletes that have graduated from their academies. I got too many to read out, but just some examples of world-renowned athletes that have come through academy programs. In Illawarra Academy, they had Sally Fitzgibbon, world number 2 female surfer. Western Sydney Academy, current dual world champion and silver medalist from London Olympics in the slalom canoe kayak, Jessica Fox. South West Sydney Academy had, in the last Olympics, 4 Olympic gold medalists. North Coast Academy had 3 Australian Rugby Union under-20 squad members. These are all quite recent, they're not 30 years ago. So academies are producing results, and it's wonderful that we can actually point to the success of these athletes. Of course, the Academy Games would not be possible this year without the very hard work of our host academy. We go through a pretty extensive process to seek expressions of interest and award the Academy Games. Central Coast staged our first Academy Games back in 2005, and they had it for 3 years. Now we're back here again on the Central Coast for 3 years. I'd like to recognise Ian Rebilliard, the Managing Director, and his Board of Directors and his hard-working staff, doing all the hard yards to prepare for these games. Tonight's the launch of it all. They must be feeling a little relieved, but they've got a hard couple of days ahead of them. So I'd like to thank, and I'd like you to please thank the Central Coast Academy. And of course, the games wouldn't happen without the help of a lot of key stakeholders and partners in these games. New South Wales Government Clubs, New South Wales, obviously. I've mentioned the councils, but organisations such as Central Coast Tourism, our media partners, NBN Television, Radio, Southern Cross Austereo Radio. We have a multitude of partners in these games. They're all committed to these young athletes and committed to our academies. So finally, ladies and gentlemen, I'll get out of the basics, but can I say over the next 2 or 3 days, 2 and a bit days, I really urge you all to get out and see as much activity as you can and just enjoy the participation of all our athletes in the sports that we have across the magnificent Central Coast. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. Martin Bullock, ladies and gentlemen, Chairman of RASI, the Regional Academy of Sport in New South Wales. You mentioned Alan B. Welpin. I noticed him tonight as I came in, looking sensational in the grey suit. Alan, can you stand up? A legend in surf life-saving. And I know Alan would be very excited about the national titles. The national titles starting on Monday with the Masters and, of course, the Open Championships next week on the Gold Coast at North Kira. Well, our next keynote speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is an OAM, Mr. Peter Newell, Chairman of Clubs New South Wales, the principal partner of the Academy Games. Would you please make him welcome?
Well, the wheel has gone full circle, and it's great to have the Clubs New South Wales Academy Games back on the Central Coast after stints in Illawarra and the New England areas over the last 6 years. I'm joined here today by my Clubs New South Wales board colleagues, Paul Barnett and Martin Bullock. And of course, as you've heard, Martin also is chairman of the regional academies of sport. body responsible for coordinating this weekend's activities, along with the Central Coast Academy, the hard-working team. I'd also like to recognise Mr Lord Mayor and Madam Deputy Mayor from Gosford and Wyong Councils, and Scott McDonald MLC representing the Sport Minister. Clubs New South Wales are fortunate to have an excellent relationship with the Baird government, and we hold that in very high regard. We meet here this weekend, worth remembering as you're competing in your various sports, that in only a couple of weeks, tomorrow fortnight to be exact, Australia will be recognising the centenary of the Anzac landing on Gallipoli early in the morning, 25th of April 1950. While a military failure that resulted in a great loss of life, that landing and campaign is credited with igniting a unique spirit that defines Australia as a nation today. So while that all holds some importance for all of us, one way or another, what has it got to do with the Clubs New South Wales Academy Games, I guess you might be thinking? Well, I'll tell you. The Gallipoli landing by Australian and New Zealand forces, some of them not all that much older than some of you, also saw the coining of that great Anzac credo that is summed up in just 4 words: courage, endurance, mateship and sacrifice. And while not put forward in a military sense, they are enduring ideals to this day, regardless of your personal circumstances or endeavours, and they're just as applicable to playing sport. As you strive to do your best in your chosen sport, there definitely will be times when you require courage. You will face adversity and challenges that will require you to find your own inner courage to succeed. There will definitely be times when you'll need endurance, the ability to keep on keeping on, regardless of the circumstances in which you might find yourself. There will be times, hopefully many times, where you will savour mateship on and off the field, and many of those friendships forged on the sporting field will last you a lifetime. And there will be times that you and those families and friends who support you in your quest for sporting excellence will be no stranger to sacrifice, be it time, money, or the many other things that many willingly give up. So courage, endurance, mateship, sacrifice applies to you all as well this weekend. You do your best amid that ongoing Anzac spirit. You know, there are 1,350 clubs right across New South Wales, clubs of all shapes and sizes, leagues clubs, golf clubs, bowling clubs, other sporting clubs, RSL and services clubs, you name it. And they have a total membership of more than 5.5 million people. All of them, one way or another, and regardless of their particular reason for being, have an affinity with sport. Many of those clubs, predominantly RSL and services clubs, were started years ago by servicemen and women returning home from conflicts overseas. And they did so to establish places where they could meet and socialise, and at the same time contribute to the good of the various communities that we all call home. So it's fitting that Clubs New South Wales, representing all of those community clubs, should be continuing as the major sponsor of the Academy Games. I'm sure each of those 1,350 clubs and their millions of members join me in wishing you all well for a great Clubs New South Wales Academy Games competition this weekend, that you emerge injury-free, and in doing your best, you continue to uphold that great Australian spirit forged on the other side of the world a century ago. You have a great weekend.
Thank you, Peter. Excellent speech. Peter Newell, ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of Clubs New South Wales, the principal partner of the Academy Games in 2015. We're honoured tonight to have Scott McDonald join us, MLC, Parliamentary Secretary for the Central Coast and Hunter, and I welcome him to the microphone now. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott McDonald.
Thank you. I think I'm the third speaker. I can see people are starting to get breathless. They've been sitting for a little while, so I'll try and keep it to under an hour if that's okay. Are you right for that? No. I'll be brief. Look, it really is a pleasure to be here representing the Sports Minister and as Parliamentary Secretary for the Hunter and Central Coast. I too would like to recognise the dignitaries, the Mayor, Deputy Mayor and all our distinguished guests. And I will also add my recognition and respect for the original owners. I hope you have a terrific Games. The New South Wales Government is very pleased to support every year. I think we've been doing this for 10 years and looks so well organised, such enthusiasm, I can see continuing into the future. I'd just like to make a very quick comment. I'm from a bit further up the road, up in New England, so I'd like to say hello to Northern England over there. Bring back the medals, will you? Don't worry about the rest of these people. So best of luck. The other people I would like to recognise in the room as having been one of those taxi fathers who would have preferred to be sleeping in some Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings, I would like all of you in the academies to recognise your parents, your grandparents, the officials, and all those people who helped you do this. So could you give them a warm thank you? The state government and Clubs New South Wales could give all the money in the world, but if it wasn't for your backup team, this wouldn't happen. So I hope you continue to recognise those. Have a great Games. I hope to be back next year. I think it's here for the next 3 years, isn't it? So it's back to where it originally started 10 years ago. I think you're going to have a wonderful weekend. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Scott McDonald, ladies and gentlemen, Parliamentary Secretary for the Central Coast and Hunter. Well, guys, I think you'll absolutely love this. I mentioned earlier that one of our keynote speakers is a gold medalist from the Commonwealth Games in Delhi in 2010 in the 4x400 metres relay. He's also carried the flag for Malta, carried the flag at the Commonwealth Games, the last Commonwealth Games in 2014. This young man, his achievements are based on pure hard work. There's been setbacks along the way, but he climbed to the top in the 4x400. We spoke a little while ago before the ceremony started, and we spoke about some of the pressure he was under just to gain a spot in that 4x400 relay. He was always one of the reserves, so he always had to perform. Without any further ado, let's welcome him to the microphone and hear from Kevin Moore, Commonwealth Games gold medalist.
First of all, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Academy Games. It's good to see all the athletes. It wasn't too long ago, it seems like a long time now, but it didn't seem like too long where I was a member of the Academy myself and an athlete just like a lot of you athletes are. I really, truly enjoyed my time in the Academy, and it did teach me a lot of things along the way through the years that did help me in my career. I was learning things in the Academy that I wasn't learning, I guess, at home or on the playing field or at training. Things like sports nutrition, recoveries, things like that really helped me, I guess, reach certain potentials of my career that I wasn't having before. Sport for me has been unreal. Obviously, I've had some good highs. I've made some good friends. I've got friends all over Australia, all over the world, and it's taken me a lot of places, and it's been great. So, kind of doesn't know me a lot. But with sport, you do have unreal highs. You do also get some lows. And as Steve said, I've had some. I'm sure a lot of you athletes have had some as well. And unfortunately, you will get some more. You will get some good highs as well. I think it's important just to touch on with the highs and the lows. If there's no highs, there's no lows. If everything was a flat line, there was no energy, it was just completely flat all the time, I think life and sport in general would get very boring. The highs, they're great. You're always trying to get that PB, that gold medal, that record, whatever it is, but you're always going for those highs and they feel really good. However, the lows aren't so good, and I understand that. I can speak from experience. I think one message to get across, if I can, the lows are just a small period of time. They don't last forever. At the time, and I've done it myself, I've thought to myself, this is never going to end. This is really bad. Life's no good. This is the end. However, time does go on, and the low comes back up to the high, and you chase the next career, you chase the next gold medal, you chase the next whatever. So time does go on. So I really want to stress that. In terms of the age you are at now, I guess it's a little bit of jealousy, because I wish I was back at your age and having my careers from the start and doing it all over again. I had such a good time. I'm still going, I'm still hopefully, providing the body can give me a few more years, I'm still heavily involved in athletics, and I actually head to Europe for another European season of 3 or 4 months in about 2 to 3 weeks. So I've got some good times ahead, fingers crossed. In terms of your age, I think it's very important to set goals. I know I've got some really, I guess, good friends who have achieved even higher than I have, and they've gone on to be Olympic champions, world champions, and that's great. However, it is important to say that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't just, you go to training, you go to school, you go to work, you go to training, and then next minute you're Olympic champion. I can guarantee you it doesn't happen that way. All these people set goals, and I think it's a very important touch on that. Set goals for yourself. Push yourself a little bit higher. If you do set the bar this high and you only reach that high, that's still fine, because I'm sure the benchmark that you reached is still higher than where you were before you set those goals, if that makes sense. In terms of setting goals, I think it's important to make it really clear and measurable. If you say, okay, I want to improve by next year, that's really good, but my improvement might be very different to someone sitting at the crowd today's improvement, and it'll be definitely different to the person sitting next to them. So if you make them clear and measurable, for example, if you finished maybe, say, 15th last year's state, top 10, that's very clear, very measurable. You either finished top 10 or you didn't. And I think that's a great thing to do, set goals for yourself. In terms of goals and planning, I think it's another big thing as well. At high level, at your level, at grassroots level, there's planning involved. There's lots of planning. Things don't just happen. In any sport, career, work, school, it doesn't just fall into place. That's really luck, and that's really minimal. It doesn't come into it very often. I think planning is very important. For me, I guess the age group we've got, maybe first dates, maybe school, or maybe first day at work. For me, I always looked at it as the next competition was like a first date. And it sounds very funny and maybe doesn't really work, but it fits really well. For example, if I have a competition tomorrow at 1 o'clock, first thing I have to do to plan for tomorrow is what am I going to wear? So as a sprinter, as an athletics athlete, I know I've got my singlet, my shorts and my spikes. I know if I get them ready tonight and they're in place ready to wear tomorrow, if anything happens tonight, even if somehow the Central Coast, a snowstorm comes and the whole place gets in lockdown, at least tomorrow morning when I wake up, I've got my uniform ready to go. I think that's very important. Second thing, where am I going? What time is it? Am I competing in Sydney? Am I competing in Mingar, Regional Centre? Where and when? So if I know what time I'm competing, okay, I'm competing tomorrow, 1 o'clock at Mingar, and my uniform's ready. That's good. I'm half the way there. Next thing, obviously time. If my coach says, okay, Kev, you've got a 45-minute warm-up tomorrow. Okay, cool. So I'm racing at 1, 45-minute warm-up at 12:15. I'll probably plan to get there at 12. Little things like this takes a lot of pressure off. If you get there at 1:30, obviously you've missed the race. If you get there at 12:30, yeah, I guess you can still make it, but you're under pressure from your coach, you're under pressure from yourself, you're cutting your warm-up short. All that adds pressure, and I can speak from a personal point of view. I'm sure you guys can definitely, I guess, share the same experiences. You don't need added pressure. It's already hard enough to go out there and beat the guy next to you or the girl next to you or the team in front of you. You don't need extra stuff to make it harder. And I guess finally, in terms of planning for myself anyway, food and water. If I have a heat in the morning and a final in the afternoon, okay, so I've got my uniform, I know how I'm getting there, I know what time I'm getting there, I've got my bottle of water, 2 bottles of water, a bit of hydrolyte, whatever it is, and some food. That way at least I can go to the competition and I can just focus on competing. It takes a lot of pressure off yourself. So I don't want to talk too much, but I think those things are very important. At your age, it's great to sort of put in good habits in early. You get to an older age and you're already doing the little things easy, it just takes pressure off yourself. Finally, I'd like to thank, obviously, Principal Partner Club New South Wales. Without them, Central Coast Academy is going to have a hard time. I had a lot of time as well with NSW, and they help out NSW greatly also. So big thanks to Central Coast Academy. Ian Ability and his hard-working crew put this event on as they are this year and the next few years also. And thanks to Club New South Wales and obviously to the athletes. Enjoy your time. I wish you a successful games. And enjoy as much as I can because you're still at a good age, you're still at a young age, and it's good times now to enjoy it and just keep progressing. And I wish you all the best.
I can't let Kev get away that easily. Kev, just share that moment in Delhi in 2010. You told me you really had to fight to make that 4x400.
Yeah, definitely. I guess in athletics you pick a team of 6 for a relay, even though 4 runners, you pick a team of 6, and I was picked as 5th reserve. There was a time where there was a camp in Germany, and I was 5th reserve, and one of the athletes who was in the race, in the team, they pulled out. So in my mind, I'm thinking, 5th reserve, number 2 has pulled out, that puts me 4th.
So number 2 is John Stephenson?
Yes. Yeah, John Stephenson at the time, he finished 2nd at the Nationals, so that's sort of putting him 2nd on the rankings. So I thought to myself, oh great, I'll go into 4th now. Unfortunately, Athletics Australia saw, a more holistic point of view, and they thought, no, you're the young kid, we'll keep you 5th, we'll put in Brendan Cole, put him 4th, so then I stayed as reserve.
So he's a 4x400 hurdler, and they put him into the 4x400 flat.
Yeah, he's a 400 metre hurdler, he's got great speed over 400 as well, and he's got about 8 years on you, so at that time they thought, keep Kev as 5th reserve, we'll save him sort of in the back pocket, put Brendan Cole, he's got more experience.
Okay, what did you do next? How did you cope with that?
I thought I was getting ripped off. I thought to myself, if I'm 5th and they take out 2nd, I go 4th. That's how it works. Obviously not.
Yeah, that's my logic too.
Yeah. But no, I just had to keep training. I was still there for another 6 weeks. And the first day I was thinking, kind of better in the team. But I did see the idea. I was still 19. I was quite young. So just had to keep training. Rock up. And there was 4 of us, so we sort of rock up and it was half competing each session. But yeah, just keep plugging away. Okay,
tell us about the heat and final in Delhi.
Yeah, so we had a few what they call run-offs in the lead up to the game. So we'll do a 300 metre race with the athletes, and then the top 3 will go into the heat start. So I was lucky enough to perform well in this run-off, and I made the spot for the heat. There was one guy who was a bit of a standout athlete, and they kept him for the final. So he was guaranteed to run the final.
Okay, who's that?
John Wilbur. So they kept Joel for the final. He ran the heat, the semi, and the final, the individual. So they thought he's good, save his legs, keep him for the final. In the heat, it was basically very cutthroat. Top 3 times of the relay will go through the final spot, plus Joel. So I had to come top 3 in our own relay, if that makes sense.
What about the final itself? Who finished top 3 in that event? And tell us about your own race.
Yeah, so in the heat I was lucky enough to get 2nd fastest time, so that nailed the spot for the final. In saying that, you didn't know that until the morning of 10 PM at a team meeting, and this gets listed, you're in the team, unfortunately you're not in the team.
So you had to sleep the night, not knowing you were in the final?
Yeah, I had to sleep the night, and we had a bit of a scare with the Indian organisation. Got the lanes mixed up, so they DQ'd us on that night, but it wasn't actually our team that they DQ'd, so we were up to about 11:30 at night sort of protesting, and then went to go to sleep from 10 o'clock meeting in the morning to see who's in the team for the final.
So for these young athletes, these are all the variables and the stress that can happen at a big competition.
Yeah, absolutely. And we watched it in the replay and the video, and we were like, okay, you did nothing wrong, but we got DQ'd. So at the start we were thinking, how's this working? Then we figured out that it was the wrong heat. So we had to kind of prove to the guys who DQ'd us that no, it's not us. You're after lane 7, heat 1, not heat 2. Like variables that you can't control. We can't control that.
Okay, what about winning the gold?
That was unreal. It was very surreal, as if sort of finish the line and then the whole lead up, obviously 9 months of the competition, over the competition season, then you've got the 10 months of camp away with the boys and then being selected for the final, in the final relay team, making the final, getting the gold medal, it come to a halt, and then it sort of a flood of obviously good feelings.
What about competing for Malta?
Yeah. So obviously, mum's Swedish, dad's Maltese, and I grew up my first years in Malta. Unreal. It's completely different. Europe for athletics itself, massive. And yeah, it's a good feeling. I love it.
So yourself and John Hutchinson, the Mariners captain, both Maltese internationals. Mate, great to see you tonight. Just tell us, have you trained with David Rudisha, the great Kenyan?
Yeah, I've done 2 sessions with him. It's unreal. It's phenomenal. You run next to him and you can feel he's putting out this much energy, and you feel like you're putting out that much energy, but you're going at the same pace. And it's at times quite frustrating because he does it so effortless.
Yeah, I bring that up because someone asked me recently what's the greatest sporting event I've ever seen, and obviously I've had the pleasure to work at a lot of big sporting events here, but David Rudisha at the London Olympic Games broke the world record, and every runner in that field set a new PB or national record. It was the greatest 800 metres ever run, and he comes out here often for training.
Yeah, unreal that race. And yeah, he does. He comes out here. He usually does the Sydney and Melbourne Grand Prix, so he comes out here that February each year. And obviously, it's great for Australian athletics, it's great for athletics himself, and all kids coming through. He does a lot of sessions where he invites 40, 50 athletes train with him.
Great to see you tonight, mate. Thanks for your words to the athletes. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Moore. Well, we have the Athletes' Oath coming up in just a moment, but really it's a national day of mourning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you've heard about the passing of Richie Benaud, and here on the Central Coast we'd actually like to acknowledge that tonight. Richie, the greatest commentator of all time, no doubt about it, and it's the end of an era in terms of cricket commentary, but also 63 test matches throughout his career. He captained Australia, and sadly passing away at the age of 84. We'd just like to take a moment to acknowledge a great of Australian sport, both on and off the field and in the commentary box. Could you please stand here at Scholastic Stadium for a moment's silence in memory of Richie Benaud. Thank you. Okay, time now for the Athlete Oath, and thanks again for that, in memory of an absolute sporting legend in this country. And there will be a state funeral, by the way, for Richie, which is outstanding news for all of his fans, supporters and loved ones. The Athlete Oath, ladies and gentlemen. Academy of Sport Athletes, Toby Elliott from the sport of basketball, and Madison Hilton from the sport of netball will come forward and read the Athlete Oath tonight. Please make them welcome.
We swear that we will take part in these games in fair competition and with respect for the regulations that govern them. We swear we will take responsibility for our actions and be understanding of our fellow athletes for the good standing and reputation of the Academy Games and the values it holds. We declare that we will participate in the true spirit of sportsmanship for the honour of the game and the glory of our chosen sport.
Thank you. Just about done with the formalities. Toby Elliott from basketball and Madison Hilton from netball with the Athlete's Oath. Time now for the presentation of special acknowledgements tonight. We'd like to invite Laurie McKenna and also Deputy Mayor from Wyong, Lynn Webster, to present the special awards. Ladies and gentlemen, please make them welcome. Laurie McKenna and Lynn Webster. Now, Laurie will say a few words and present a gift to Peter Newell, Chairman of Clubs New South Wales, Peter Newell, OAN, for 10 years of support to the Academy Games.
Congratulations, Peter. I'd just like to welcome everybody to the Central Coast, all the families who have travelled down here, and hopefully a few people are looking going, what the hell's he saying? I'll speak slowly. Now, just welcome to the Central Coast. Have a great weekend. We're very proud, myself and Lynn, both councils are very proud that Academy Games are on the coast for the next 3 years. It's something we're very proud of, and hopefully have a great weekend and enjoy the hospitality of the coast. And if you're not doing nothing tomorrow night, there's a game of football on at the stadium, the Central Coast Mariners play Western Sydney. So,
thank you, Laurie. And now Lynn Webster will say a few words and also present a gift to Scott McDonald, Parliamentary Secretary for the Central Coast and Hunter, for 10 years of continuous support to the staging of the Games.
I just want to wish everybody the very best here today. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend here on the wonderful Central Coast, and I want to thank the state government for their continued support. So thank you, have a great weekend, and good luck to everyone.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, it's my honour to invite Scott McDonald back to the leg turn. It's time to officially open the 2015 Academy Games. We'll be straight into the action, and everybody can stay and watch tonight. Central Coast up against Western Region in basketball, and North Coast up against Southern, also in basketball. There'll be 2 games going on simultaneously, and we'd love everyone to stay and watch the action tonight. But right now, to officially open the games, ladies and gentlemen, Scott McDonald.
You won't need an interpreter for me like you did for the mayor there. Mine's very simple. We're finally here. Thank you again to all the officials, all the sponsors. It's a wonderful night. You have a terrific weekend. The Academy Games officially open.
Thank you, Scott. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's showtime in the 2015 Clubs New South Wales Academy Games. As Scott said and all the keynote speakers said, good luck across the weekend. Welcome to the Central Coast, and let the games begin with our first 2 games of basketball.
Okay, Ian, well, that's all the speeches done, and I think there's time for some sport, yeah?
Well, now the... Thanks very much. Just a gentleman in the crowd saying thank you. It was a very, very enjoyable opening ceremony. I mean, I know sometimes the timing of these events is very difficult, you know, what's long enough, but I think the speeches really hit the mark. I love listening to Peter Newell. You've got an MC that is one of the best in Australia, if not further afield. You know, Martin Bullock does a great job representing the collective. And it's nice to hear of you know, the government support through Scott McDonald. So, you know, it's an important need for us. But really, as Steve Allen just said, you know, the games commence now. So we've got the Central Coast boys playing North Coast, the Central Coast girls playing North Coast, and then you have the same boy and girl games on the back courts, courts 3 and 4, which are beautifully appointed between the Western Region and Southern Sports Academy. So we'll get straight underway. We've got to clear the court. There's a bit of a backlog, as you can see, because we've got about 1,600 people, I would guess, in here at Scholastic Stadium.
Well, so 1,597. So you've done pretty well there. And I think one thing that I took from all those speeches is basically Mr. Newell was talking about incorporating the past, you know, where we've come from as a nation, as a country. And then you've got young Mr. Moore talking about, you know, where are you going as an athlete? So I reckon you couldn't have sort of picked it better to be able to talk about, well, you need to know where you've come from and you need to know where you're going. And I think this is a great program that you've put together.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I mean, I love listening to Peter Newell. He's an exceptional speaker. His background with clubs and the work that they do in the support of young athletes both at our level, at the academy level, and then higher afield at the New South Wales Institute of Sport is really just so commendable. And I just love listening to him, and his the similarity between the celebrations in Gallipoli and the themes that he spoke about are so true in regard to sport.
Well, and what we're going to do now is, of course, as you can see, the floor has got to be cleared of debris and also of athletes. So what we're going to leave the live stream pictures going. We'll turn off the audio because it's just going to be a lot of noise. We'll leave the live stream pictures going, and of course, you at home can just watch in a bit of a time lapse as it gets converted into a basketball stadium. And then, of course, I hope to hear you back with your dulcet tones calling some of the acts of basketball.
Well, I look forward to that. We've got still a very full program. We have a VIP function. Obviously, we've got a lot of dignitaries here, as people would have heard, but I'll come back because I've got a very keen interest in the basketball program. I've been helping those athletes for over the past 6 months, so it'll be a real test for our squads against the North Coast. They're very competitive, so I'll look forward to seeing how we go. So again, Les, thank you very much for your support, to the support of VPA for your live streaming. It really is second to none, and I'll pass you over now, and I'll be back here shortly after I've had a lemonade and a Jets cracker.
Well, thanks, Ian. As Ian heads off now, basically, as I said, I'm just going to leave the live stream pictures going, and then I will we'll basically got to do a little bit of setup here. It's a credit to Ian and what they put together. A bit of a clog trying to get out of the stadium at the moment. So I'll turn the audio off. We're expecting a start around about 7 p.m. tonight. Hopefully we'll be on time. There's still a lot of work to be done. So just watch your picture there, and of course the audio will appear once it. If the screen does go black, don't worry. It's just a matter of restarting. We will basically just maybe clear the cache and get going. But I appreciate your time, and we'll talk soon. Sorry guys, here we go. We're back into the live stream. So looking some basketball here. We've got the scoreboard in the top left-hand corner. So I'll let you know, obviously both teams are in the dark, so I'll just have a quick look at the first score and let you know who's in the dark and who's in the light. The light obviously on the left-hand side of the scoreboard, the dark is in on the right-hand side. So here we get to go there for the action in the first game here of the Academy Games, the basketball program. Now, our illustrious commentator, Ian Rebillard, who actually knows a fair bit more about basketball than myself, he's up in the VIP area just having a lemonade and some crackers, but he will join us soon. So what we'll do is we'll just follow the play and we will get a quick look. I won't commentate too much over the top of it because, of course, I'm not a basketball expert and I don't know these teams. But anyhow, we'll let the tape roll and I'll let you know when Ian's going to come in. So as you can see there, Central Coast Academy of Sport are in the light colours or on the scoreboard, so they're on the left there. Okay guys, we've got a real treat now while waiting for Ian Rebillia to come down from the VIP area. I've got John here from the North Coast. He's just going to fill us in a little bit about the basketball program, the athletes here. How are you enjoying your time so far, John?
Really good. We travelled down yesterday. I made a bit of a road trip of it, catching up with coaches and board members on the way down. So we've got a big area. It travels from Tweed Head right down to Port Macquarie. So 500 kilometres of coastline, so takes a bit to service.
Yeah, we're talking in the opening ceremony about, it doesn't look to me like they're just all surfers. There are actually some real athletes in your team, yeah?
Yeah, we do have a surf life-saving program and a rowing program, but yeah, I mean, the North Coast is always synonymous with good sport, and yeah, we're really pleased that we can do something to help these kids up there. A long way from Sydney, but you know, I think the athletes up there really work for their positions, and when they get into these representative teams and state teams, they really earn it.
And you were saying to me before, John, that it's a young program, it's a young team, this team just put together just recently, but looks like they're going to go okay here.
Yeah, they certainly, we've been working with Country Basketball New South Wales and Basketball New South Wales, and they're really trying to do some work with those regions that don't have established programs, such as, you know, Southern Sports Academy based around Wagga, and certainly NIAS around Tamworth and Armidale and ourselves. So it's great to see that we're able to put this program together, and they're a brand new bunch of kids. We only selected them a few weeks ago, and they've just had a trial camp at Coffs Harbour, and we were lucky enough at that camp to have CJ Bruton and his dad Cal Bruton, you know, absolute legends of basketball, run that camp for 2.5 days.
Very nice. And we saw the numbers of athletes down from your region. You've brought a big team.
Yeah, well, we're represented across 4 sports. We don't have the other sports in our program at the moment, but we really support the whole concept of the Academy Games, and we've got 2 netball teams, the 2 basketball teams, the men and women, and plus golf, and also triathlon as well.
So it is hard to make it from the regional centres. I know I was an athlete out from Parks in central New South Wales, and there was really no opportunities. But these days, this is the whole idea of your program, isn't it? To be able to get these kids on a elite program. So, you know, if they're good enough, they can make it, can't they?
Well, they can, and we're able to bring in really good coaches. Not only are the athletes get assistance from that, but also our local coaches are mentored by these people. We also deliver a sports education program, and we come together for a weekend of sports education at Coffs Harbour every year. We deliver modules in sports psychology, sports physiology, nutrition, drugs in sport, and my athlete brand, a media skills training. So they're really important for the athletes as well as they progress through their career and they develop their own brand, that we're able to assist that as well.
And you know about the coach here? Can you tell me a little bit about the coach?
Yeah, Ashley Heather's our new coach, our head coach. Ashley has been previously in Sydney, and he worked extensively down there with Basketball New South Wales. He was on the Sydney NBL team as well as a development player. I understand that his contract involves being part of basketball New South Wales a development officer, and also running the stadium at Coffs Harbour Sports Central. So it was really an ideal situation that we got him involved in our program as well.
And this is exactly what you're talking about, people giving back. You know, you just mentioned about 4 or 5 different jobs, probably getting paid to do one, and all that time because he just loves to give back.
That's right, and you know, what it does too, you know, Coffs Harbour is a real centre for basketball as far as the North Coast goes, and he's able to draw those athletes in and ensure that the program is relevant to all athletes, you know, and so we're really pleased to be able to pick a coach of Ashley's qualifications up. You know, we've also got Nick Pryor coaching the girls over there, and we're really are lucky to have him involved. He's been a state coach as well.
Now we're talking about hosting the games for 3 years here on the Central Coast. Now, I know when I used to travel around a lot for sport, I never used to like staying at home. I mean, it's a great time out for the kids, don't they? I mean, where is the actual team staying?
We're staying at Tawoon Caravan Park. We've got there's about 80 of us there with parents and coaches and staff. We're also utilising the facilities of the Shelley Beach Golf Club. We're having all our meals there, and also our breakfast being catered there. And you know, it's a real nice central area to the whole region. Yeah.
So the kids are on holidays, and possibly, I reckon, if they tried to book into those places that you just mentioned, which are some of the most iconic places to stay here on the Central Coast, you wouldn't actually get in. So the way that you guys have been able to work it is that on your school holidays, these kids are having, you know, somewhat of a holiday, I suppose. I mean, they've got to work hard, but yet getting away, seeing something. I mean, you're right on the beach, of course.
Yep. And you know, that's right, and we were able to, I know that the local academy here, Central Coast Academy, were able to work with Central Coast Tourism to block book a heap of accommodation for us, so that we're able to get that accommodation. Otherwise we wouldn't have been able to, you know, and basically we're going to book this again straight away for the next 2 years, you know, because we're quite happy with the setup and everything. So
tell me, John, you got a cabin, or you've got to share with 80 kids, or what's going on?
Well, we've had to spread the coaches and the staff through the park to ensure, you know, that everybody's nice and safe, and for risk management issues as well. But yeah, fortunately, I guess being the executive officer, I do have my own room. But
yes. I'm sure you did. If you're putting through the bookings, you'd have to get that sorted. Now,
I would have sacked my programs manager if I didn't. Yeah.
So any of these boys down here, do you know any of them?
I honestly don't, and I was talking to them. I only met them, you know, like as we lined up today, because they've only just been selected. But I know over the next, I'll be going to some of their camps, and so I'll be really looking forward to meeting with them. I have a bit of a basketball background years ago myself, so I really love the game, and you know, I really appreciate seeing these young guys work. I mean, these guys now do things that we never used to do, and the skill level has grown immensely since when I was involved, and you know, they make it look so easy. It's a little bit.
Can you tell me on the far court when someone scored? Also, John, we're looking, I know the stream, we're actually looking here on the boys' court here, but in the background over the other side, the same two teams, or same two academies are going at it in the girls' program there, and it's I just can't see the scoreboard, but I'm looking up where
it's 7 to 8 at the moment, so that's obviously a pretty close game, as is this one here. So, you know, I really think, you know, like Central Coast have always been a strong basketball group, and it's really good to see, you know, that we're matching it with both these teams on both the men's and women's court.
Well, actually, it looks over to the girls on the other side, and you're actually winning that 1 by 1 because, the Central Coast is in the lights on the scoreboard here in this game. 11 to 9, as you can see, it's very close in the first quarter with only a minute 50 left on the clock.
Yeah, you know, Central Coast got some big boys in there, and I think we're having a little bit of trouble sort of handling that height. But yeah, through the court, they're moving the ball well, and bit of a press on both ends here at the moment. I think with the game coming up to a break, both teams are really working hard here.
And the age group here, John, what are we looking at?
We're looking at, as country basketball have asked us to work with athletes at top age 14, bottom age 16. And basically that's the age that all the academies are running with at the moment. I feel that that's probably that time when they really need to step up another level. They're looking to state selection at under 16s, under 18s, you know.
And obviously a fairly large squad there. They're obviously bringing in the troops. What would they have? They'd have quite a few reserves there.
Yeah, we've got 12 on both teams at the moment. In our squad, we're running. I think it's we're running 20 in each, the men and the women on the North Coast at the moment. So they had the trial for this particular tour, and they're you know, it's a development program, and we're looking at a long term. And certainly, I know with Ashley that he's looking at these athletes developing their skills over a period of time. So just looking at the break at the moment, we've got the women's game all tied up at 8-all. Central Coast just in the last few minutes with a bit of a press have opened up to 13-9, and it's going to be, both games are really tight at the moment.
Yeah, well, they're just taking a little bit of a break here. Just having a look down at the coaches delivering here on the Central Coast, delivering some valuable information here. You can see them talking to probably the lineup there, and you can see the boys are all interested. They're ready to roll.
Yep, I mean, you know, they can learn so much just by listening, even coming off the bench and just listening and being part of the team, listening to what the coach direction is. Certainly when they go back on, they can, and they've got a sub on, they know exactly what the coach wants the team to do, so they can pick up that role very quickly.
But as I said, it's always basketball's it's a great sport to watch, because it's never really over, isn't it? I mean, you get down to most sports with a minute to go and it's all done and dusted. But if you're looking at NFL in America and basketball, there can be many minutes in the last parts of the action.
Yeah, well, I think the classic one was the United States versus Russia with 0.5 of a second or something to go in Munich, and Russians didn't give up, and they eventually won the game, and the clock didn't start till the ball was touched again when it come inboard, and they were under the basket unattended, and bang, slammed it in, and it was all over, Red Rover. And I think it was the first time the Americans had ever been beaten. And especially with the shot clock, that sort of makes them work a little bit harder. We've got a 24-second shot clock running here, which means they've got to take the shot in that 24-second period, which keeps the game live.
Yeah, just a few more subs coming on here for Central Coast. They're half-time, as John said, over in the other court with the... it's an 8-all first quarter over there between the Central Coast and the North Coast, so very tight on the other side.
Yeah, we just had the number 22 for the North Coast driving to the base on the baseline, and the ref has called a body check in the course for shooting, and he's lining up now for 2 shots with only a very short time left on the clock too. A minute 16, is it?
Yeah, minute 16 on the clock.
So yeah. Yep. It'll be interesting to see whether the North Coast there put a press on to try and upset the Central Coast and make them move the ball away, force it a turnover. And as I said, straight away they're pressing up the court. That advantage is lost a bit with a substitution, but still they're really pushing up sort of a 3/4 court press. Of course, the time's running down as well, and they've got to get the ball over there nice and quickly, and their press has worked on this occasion, and North Coast have managed to steal. So they just need to use this now. Good rebound from the Central Coast athlete there.
Yeah, number 22.
He's quite a big boy.
I was here for about 5 hours setting it up and setting all the live stream up, and that boy was actually here for the entire time shooting. So he must have actually spent 4 hours in his home court just simply shooting the ball. I mean, they're dedicated.
Yep. Good baseline drive there by the Central Coast athlete. Not much help from behind there. So they just need to look at keep the peripheral vision up so they can help their teammate if they need to.
We're down into the last seconds here. The Central Coast 15 out to the North Coast 10. I don't think there'll be any more score. There may be. Driving to the basket, and yes.
There's a good basket there.
As soon as I said there'll be no more score, of course they were going to score all the time.
Ooh. Okay, so Central Coast that last 3 or 4 minutes have got out. Well, a pretty tight game for a while, and they've got out to 17-10 now, so that's a good lead. The North Coast here will have to just have a look at their game plan, their matchups, and just see if they can work as to how they're going to get back into this game.
Okay, John, we'll take a little bit of a break. While they're having a little bit of a break, we might have a lemonade and a cracker ourselves, but we'll be back with the second quarter.
Great, thanks.
So while we've got quarter time here on court number 1, we've just picked up the action on the other side. As we said, it's same, the Central Coast versus the North Coast over on the other side. The scoreboard you see in your left-hand corner is not their scoreboard. It's the scoreboard, of course, here for court 1. But I can tell you that the North Coast have come out all guns blazing in the second quarter, and they've extended their lead, I think, to 15-8. So Central Coast haven't been able to put a score on the board, and North Coast have gone to 15. So we'll just follow that action whilst we have a break here on court number 1. So it's a great facility here at the Scholastics Stadium here at Terrigal. We have obviously two courts here. We're on the show court here, number 1, and of course the adjacent to this on the other side, there's another 2 courts without any grandstands. So we end up with 4 courts in total, with an upstairs viewing area, and we're on a platform here, which is a small sort of country stadium, if you want to think about it, a wooden tiered stadium. So it's it's good, great facilities. The surface here is second to none. It's all been just redone for the Academy Games, and of course the Central Coast rep squads play here as well. So we've started action back in the second quarter. As you can see, we've got a full amount of time on the clock, and Central Coast have pushed out to 17-10 at the start of the second quarter. John's just joined me. He's gone for a quick lemonade. How was it, John?
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. Too much lemonade, I think, was the problem.
Yes, well, that's always the way. I was just we filmed a little bit of the women whilst you were whilst there was a break here in the main court 1, and as you can see, the North Coast girls on the other side have pushed out to 16-8 now. They've doubled the score on the other court, so we'll keep an eye on that one while we obviously streaming this one here live.
Yeah, it's a pretty good effort from the girls. Obviously, they've got a 3-quarter press there, and they're getting a few turnovers. I was just talking to the assistant coach from the academy side, and what they're saying is that they're not really helping when they switch, especially on the baseline. They're allowing Central Coast athletes to get in there, and they're not watching the ball and helping the other player. So they're going to really try and concentrate on giving some assistance, especially on that drive. You can see the Central Coast boys are taking them on every time and drawing a lot of fouls, as well. So
well, John, I thought you were just going for a drink, but obviously it's like real television. You're actually down interviewing the coaching staff at a break.
Yeah, well, as I went past, I just asked a quiet word of what they're going to try and concentrate on this quarter, and that was the feedback anyway. So we'll just see whether it makes any difference.
Well, very good.
Beautiful, nice shooting action there on the line from number 8 from Central Coast. Yes, 2 from 2, very nice.
So it looks like the exact opposites happen on these two courts. Central Coast here and the boys have pushed away, and on the other side the girls from the North Coast have pushed away. So it's quite polar opposites here.
Exactly, yeah. Just on that break then, you can see that the pass was just a little harder. Certainly there was the room there to make the pass, but just didn't get the hit his man as he drove through the centre. Sometimes I think, they look to get dish off too soon. I think he was in there, but he just, he'll make him think about it next time.
And you can see those tactics there beautifully. The full court press at the beginning. They just about pinched the ball, of course, knocked it out, and Central Coast got the ball back. But yeah, they were pressing high.
Yeah, both teams want to take it on, I think, at this stage, and getting up the court a little bit more.
So this boy here with the ball, number 5, how old would he be?
Well, I know we've got some boys who are they'll be turning 13 this year, but obviously some of them are still only 12 years of age. So, it's great to get them in there if they've got the ball skills. Obviously, he's playing point position and he's got some good skills, and it's great to see him working hard. I mean, basketball, whilst predominantly for big boys, it's nice to be able to control that ball sometimes as a smaller athlete,
Yeah, I think it's proven. You look around the networks on the TV and you watch a lot of basketball. It's not just a big man's game.
Well, you've got to have somebody who can carry that ball, and there's plenty of good point guards. I mean, you look back, I was talking about Cal Bruton, what a wonderful point guard, Steve Carfino and those sort of people, wonderful athletes. I mean, even though a lot of them are still getting bigger and bigger, but there's still a place for a smaller athlete in the sport.
And Paddy Mills, of course, doing great things overseas.
Yeah, for sure. Speed's probably more important than just the actual physical prowess of each athlete. Good pass there. Lovely feed. Just didn't make it.
He seems to be the go-to man, number 8 here for the North Coast. He looks like he's got most of the skills he required.
Yeah, he's a good mover, and certainly on that occasion he ran hard on the baseline to try and receive that pass as he cut through the back there. Just wasn't able to control it at the last minute, but the umpires deemed that he was fouled as he was about to put the ball up, so he's gone to the shot line.
Well, that's unfortunate. He deserved a couple of points here. He worked very hard, because in most sports it's the same as basketball. Working off the ball is just as important as working on the ball.
For sure, yeah. So they're certainly in their free shots tonight. They haven't been converting as much as they should. It'll be interesting to see what that percentage is, but it's...
I'm sure you'll find that stat out for me at half time. Just
sure.
Hang on, I think I've got it on the full iPad. No, I haven't. I'm only kidding.
So there's that cut again that's been killing them all night, really. It's just no help behind, and certainly the overplaying the defence a little bit. I just think they need to be just a little bit more patient with that.
Well, there's been a big comeback on the other side while we've been intently watching this one. The Central Coast have pulled back to a 2-point ball game on the other side. So 17 Central Coast, 19 North Coast in the girls across the other side.
Well, that's a good comeback because they looked like they were in trouble. But, you know, I think the coaches are using this first game here to give everybody in the squad a bit of a run. So from time to time, as they sub players in and out, there could be momentum swings, you know.
Yeah, I think most squads have got their first team, and then of course your subs come in. I think the ability to be able to win tournaments like this means that if you're sort of level across the board, and that's probably going to help you right the way through the tournament.
Exactly, yeah. You need that depth, especially as this weekend goes on, because you know, by the time you play your third and fourth game, you're starting to look at sore, tired, and the lactate builds up in your body, and you know, they just need to take care of themselves, and obviously the coaches are using the bench as much as possible to make sure they can get through the game.
Well, I think the basketball is moving to Niagara Park for the rest of the tournament. We won't see them here, so this is all we see, the basketball here where we have our live stream set up. We'll actually be filming the netball tomorrow. You've got a strong netball squad in, John?
It's a brand new squad this year. We've had a big rollover in Netball New South Wales. Traditionally, the academy has been allowed to run athletes in that 17 age group, mainly because we don't get the same level of competition on the North Coast as they would in metropolitan Sydney or the surrounding, Illawarra, Hunter areas. So we've always been allowed to run 17-year-olds. We don't have them this year, so we've gone back to a much younger squad. Under new coach, and we're Narelle Stokes, who unfortunately is ill at the moment and won't be here, so her assistant coaches are taking all that up, and I'm sure they'll do a wonderful job. So this will be a good experience for the girls, and I'm sure I think they've got Metro Sydney first game tomorrow morning, so that's going to really test them.
Yeah, I struggled with that all of my career, was out from the bush. Every time you'd meet the Metro squads, it doesn't matter what you're playing, it seems to be there's just, they're so big, they're so strong, and they hold their own really in a lot of the stuff. So, but we didn't stop our country boys. We really give it to them.
No, well, we've been certainly in the state team under 17, under 19. We've been always have one or two players in that group, and so it's been nice to be able to give them a little bit extra, in the training and being part of the squad and a higher level sort of training and coaching, I guess. But Netball New South Wales feel that they are advocated for now through other programs, and so we've just gone back to the same as the other academies.
And you'd like to, any shout outs for home, mate, while you're on the live stream? Remember, this goes to every part of the world, and at the top of Borneo to I think there's an internet connection in the Antarctic at the moment, so we could very well be there. Any shout outs you'd like to call out to?
Yeah, well, I've got a really good mate who lives in Reno, Nevada, who I used to play basketball with in Launceston in Tasmania, and David Troutner, if he's listening or hears of this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can see that David's watching at the moment.
That's great to see, mate. Yeah. This game's just tightening up a little bit again. There's not a lot in it. It's 20-16, and again the Central Coast were able to force a turnover there.
Yeah, and I can see that it's actually half time on the girls' game next door there, John, and it did tighten up the same over there too. So there's only 2 points in it over on the other side, with North Coast holding on to a 19-17 lead.
Well, the girls will take great heart from that. I mean, regardless of what the final score is, as long as they're competitive at this stage, I think they'd be really happy, and certainly so with their coach. So this is a real learning experience for our athletes, and they'd take great heart out of that score, I'm sure.
Most of your team would have travelled back now to their accommodation, I would have guessed.
No, our team are staying here to watch and support our athletes. So our netball and triathlon and golf teams are all watching the game here, and we're actually heading off to dinner as soon as we finish here, having a buffet dinner together, and hopefully we'll be in bed by about 10.
And that's out at the Shelley Beach Golf Club?
Yep, that's all set up for tonight.
Well, I might have to call in there on the way home because I'm very hungry myself.
Well, lovely pasta dishes, I understand, so the Central Coast have got another turnover here and put the ball nicely into the corner, but Good defence by the North Coast boys has stopped the score. Good opportunity here with 3 on 2, and that's what I think they should have been doing much more, is rather than dishing off, taking the ball to the basket and drawing the foul.
Yeah, that would be okay, but John, as you can see, the percentage rate of the free throws are a little bit down. So, maybe in the second half, if they can pull that percentage up, then driving to the basket might be the way to go.
Yep. Looks like it's ball from the side for the end there. So.
You got me worried now. I'm not worried, but you got me hungry. I'm just looking out over the basketball, just thinking of pasta now. So I'll have to go there soon after this and get something to eat myself. But you got coming in buses. How are they travelling? How's the team travelling?
Yeah, we pretty well. Most of the team came down in buses from Lismore. We started at 6 o'clock this morning, so it's been a long day already, and various pickups on the way. The major centres. They arrived about 3:30 or were able to sort of freshen up, get into their gear for the opening ceremony here tonight. And so we've got the buses hanging around all weekend, like moving our athletes from venue to venue. The bus drivers do a wonderful job. The hardest job is working that schedule out so we make sure that we don't leave anybody behind or they're not sitting around too long. But we've been using the same bus company now for a number of years, and they've got it down pretty well, just how we want it, so it's worked out quite well.
And who's the program manager up there now?
Candice Boggs is our programs manager. Candice came through our university system as an intern at the academy. She's really involved in a lot of biomechanical work for us, and then she came back and did a lot of volunteer work. So when the position became available after Chris Little moved to Queensland, we encouraged her to apply, and she did, and she took up that position. So Kenny's been there now 2.5 years and doing a great job, and I know she gets on really well with all the coaching staff and athletes. Yeah.
And she'll be right in the mix here. She'll be organising stuff.
Yeah, she's running around at the moment doing photography shooting, so she's got all sorts of skills going here.
And we just saw a massive 3-point bomb from the little dude. So yeah, he was on fire.
Yeah, it's a really good. They're shooting well the Central Coast and dominating the boards as well. So
well, there we go, John. It's half time, and the Central Coast are pushed out now to a 25-18 lead. Do you see the North Coast boys getting back in it?
The longer the game goes, the other boys just don't get any shorter, and they've certainly got a lot of big boys in that team at the moment. They're dominating the boards, and it's going to be hard for the academy North Coast boys to get back on score here, I think.
And now I'll have to take a quick break. I've got a media commitment at the moment. I've just got to go off and do a quick interview myself. But thanks. But I'll catch you in the second half.
No trouble. Bye.
Okay, we're back into the third quarter, and I'm joined with Burns. He's an actual father of one of the Central Coast boys here, so we're actually going to get a little bit of an insight in some of the kids' names. Mate, pretty young squad, this one.
Yeah, they are. They're all 14 and 13, I think. Might even be some younger kids in the squad.
And Burns, your boy is where is he playing? What number's he?
That's my son, Matthew, number 15. That's him just in front of the ball there at the moment. And he normally plays in a centre or a power forward position for the squad.
Yeah, good. So these boys, would they all be playing in different leagues or whatever, or do most of them play for the Central Coast rep squad?
Most of the boys are with the local Rebels team. There's a few of the players that are from the Waves team, which is based over at Niagara Park. But yeah, most of these kids know each other pretty well from playing in the local Rebels competition.
Well, as you can see, Central Coast are holding their position here at 25 to 18, and just on the other court, on the other side, we can also see that it's a 1-point ball game over there with the girls. They're in the third quarter with about 3 or 4 minutes to go over there, so we'll just concentrate here, Burns. So your boys going to the line as these North Coast have had struggle a little bit at the line, but you guys have been going okay.
Yeah, look, you know, it's called the charity stripe, but sometimes there's not a whole lot of love there. Fortunately, Matthew's been hitting his shot quite well tonight, and a few of the other boys have picked up some points from there too.
So who are we looking for? Who are we looking out for? I know we had spent some time number 22, but he's on the bench at the moment. Who's currently on the boards out there that we should be watching out for?
Okay, well, let's see. Number 13, that's Max. He normally plays 4 or 5 alongside Matthew, and he's a very good athlete. One of the boys in the team that can dunk the ball. Number 14, Dan Titus. Dan and my boy Matt are best mates from school. And I think he's playing in the 3 position at the moment. They just combine nicely there for a basket. 23, Michael Jordan's number, that's Toby Elliott. Toby plays guard for the Rebels team. And yeah, very, very good basketball, also a very good rugby league player. Quite a few of these boys play more than one sport. And who have I missed? Oliver Hedger, number 9. Ollie's also a schoolmate of Matthew and Daniels. So those 3 boys get to play quite a bit of basketball together. They're actually in the school team that went to the the Australian National Schools Championships last year.
So we're just closing in on the actual coach down here. The coach by name?
I haven't met the guy.
Yes.
Normally these guys have been associated with Ian Rebillard, Moose. I think most people on the coast would know Moose. So yeah, when they came in tonight and it was this gentleman here, I'm afraid I have no idea who he is. Obviously the boy's name well.
I can tell you all right now, mate, his quality, because you can see by the way the boys are listening.
Oh, yeah.
I think the intent by a coach is to get the utmost concentration from their players, and every time Central Coast boys go into a huddle, they're listening very, 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 very intently.
No, he's done a good job with them. The rotations have been pretty good, and he's got them running some good offence at the moment.
So you played a little bit, Burns, when you were a little bit younger?
A little bit, not very much. Both my kids are better players than I ever was. I mean, Matt's been playing basketball since he was in kindy.
And as a parent, like I've got a young son, a 15, 16-year-old son, trying to make his way in the round ball football game. Plenty of kilometres, a lot of time hand in the pocket.
Yeah, actually both my boys are first grade soccer players as well. They played in the 12As and the 14As with Terrigal last year. And yeah, it can become very time consuming and very expensive, but you know, I'm a big believer in the value of sport. I'm a school teacher, so you know, I see the positives just in terms of the boys' character and right across all aspects of their life. I think it teaches kids a lot.
And tell me about the academy. What do you think is the number one goal here, and how are they going about bringing these young, talented athletes? It's obviously a good place to be.
Oh, absolutely. This is actually only our first year with the academy. We've had a number of our friends that have been involved with for a couple of years, and the thing that really stuck out to us with the recommendations was how holistic the approach is there. It's not just about playing the game. It's about the preparation and training and proper nutrition and recovery and all of those things which go into being, a good athlete.
Yeah, and I'm a personal friend with Ian Rebelliot, and I know that he puts utmost care into every athlete, and I think it's a great result here, basically seeing a lot of those athletes come to these sort of competitions. And the other thing was about, what talked about before was, I always used to love travelling to events, but you guys get to stay home this time. Are the boys upset that they're not in camp, or do they would have loved the last? I mean, I remember your boys wasn't in last year, but they love going away, don't they?
Well, yeah, we were in Coffs Harbour just a few weeks ago with the Rebels team, and it's just a great social time that the families have together when they go away. You watch your kids play, and there are meals together, and you end up in the unit next door to other families from with kids in the team. So it's a really good time. It's one of the real positives, I suppose.
Well, Burns, I'm just going to bring the viewers to an update on what's happening on the other side. There's, with only 40 seconds to play on the other side, Central Coast have hit the lead for the first time for a long time, 26-25 on the other court, same two teams. It seems to be a little bit of a stalemate here. There's nobody on this court really getting an advantage. The scores are basically staying the same here on this court.
Yeah, it seems to be quite a few turnovers, not a whole lot of positive scoring going on at the moment, unfortunately. Hopefully Matt can set something up here, or Toby, or Dan. He could hit the three-point shot.
It's pretty good defence here. They're keeping a tight.
5 seconds left on the clock, and the foul.
So is he in the motion they're shooting then? Will he go to the line?
Well, the player did have his hand on the ball, but I think he got a bit of his arm too. It'll be interesting to see how the referees called this one.
Mate, I do appreciate you spending some time up here as a father of the squad. And some of our listeners would, they would understand that you've taken your time out to come and have a chat, and it's just so good for the kids. I think they become young men very quickly in these sort of squads.
There we go. Get it in, Dan. There we go.
There we go. So that pushes them on to 34-26.
And they just got the steal. All right. That other boy there is, his name's Matt, number 7. And we were talking about the social side of sport before. He actually is a boy that my son met when he went on a basketball camp at Port Macquarie a few years ago. So that friendship was established then, and now they're back playing together in the same team.
Yeah, that was. I mean, those stories, I suppose, are everywhere, and they're great to see. That's why I live and breathe sport, is because, it's a big part of Australia, a big part of growing up here in Australia, and it's the way you make your friends, and it's the way you keep your friends.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
So, Burns, you're from a local here somewhere on the coast?
Yeah, I actually teach at one of the local schools.
I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to say Lisarow High School.
No, you missed out of it. It's I actually teach at the Adventist school,
which has the same initials, CCAS, as the Central Coast Academy of Sport. So I was half tempted to wear one of my school t-shirts along tonight.
And I notice you've got a brand new big stadium there. Were any of the events over there?
I think the grand final is there on Sunday, so we're hoping for a big crowd there. We're really, really proud of the way that the basketball centre came together there. Classrooms underneath, and it's probably one of the best floors to play basketball on in the country. It's just a great facility at the school.
Very good. Well, mate, I'll give you the night off. I appreciate you coming over. It's they're having a little bit of a time out now, and you can head back and sit with your family and watch the rest of the game. So thanks very much,
Thanks very much, Les.
Okay, a minute 40 left on the clock here. As you can see, the Central Coast 41, North Coast 26. So I just had a guest stint with Burns. That's Izzy's actual first name. So I appreciate for him coming down. We're trying to get someone from the North Coast to join us, talk a little bit about the boys. But in the meantime, I'll just give you a little bit of an update over on the other court in the women's program. The women's game. The Central Coast have actually hit the lead and gone ahead now, so they're actually 30 to the North Coast 26. So Central Coast have pushed ahead there a little bit. So, oh, nice steal. Yeah, it's nice basket there from the North Coast. This boy in the blue shoes is he's been really performing well here tonight. Just to give you a bit of an idea of exactly where we are, we're about 15 kilometres just out of Terrigal. So Terrigal's, of course, right on the beach there at the Central Coast. It's one of the big holiday spots on the Central Coast, and we're about 15, 20 kilometres inland from there. There's another big shopping centre called the Erina Fair Shopping Centre, which is just down the road. So we're sort of halfway between Terrigal and the Central Coast. Terrigal and the Erina Fair. So I got distracted there. I was looking elsewhere. But the girls, Central Coast girls have pushed on a little bit further now. They're 32 points, 26 on court 2. But here on court 1, as you can see plainly, with only 50 seconds left on the clock, Central Coast 41, North Coast 29. Just making a quick substitution there for the North Coast. The Central Coast are going to the... They're on the strip here. As I said, this boy, 22, he was down practicing for 3 or 4 hours before today's event, so I would assume that he's going to be able to sink both of these. See if I put the curse on him. Nah, it's just all net there. That's what practice does, boys and girls. Practice like that will help you go a long way. While he's here sinking baskets, other kids are home eating lollipops, and you can see what's happening. Well, there's a double steal. Oh, bad luck. Can the little fella get it done? No, he dishes off. Oh, nice spin. Oh, he deserved a basket then. With the left-hand spin. Finally, North Coast sink a basket. They get back to 31. As you can hear the countdown happening now. And that it is. End of the third quarter with the Central Coast 43 leading the North Coast 31. And on the other field across the other side, there's 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So they're now counting it down to the end of the game. You can see a wide shot there, but 34 to the Central Coast to 26 for the North Coast. So if the North Coast, they need to be able to get back into it. They've got to work it out now, because with only 4.5 minutes on the clock, it's going to be tough. And now I'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with the fourth quarter. We'll see you on the other side.
Well, it's nice to join you, Les.
Yeah, we have now Ian Rebilliard's back from the Cheese and Crackers up in the VIP area, and I see you're walking there nice and straight down the line there, so there must be no alcohol up there.
No, well, it's a dry event because it's junior sport, so the VIP is still just mingling. There's a great networking atmosphere up there, but I've been very honest. I've been watching both the boys and girls how they're playing, and I'm getting a few text messages from the coaches down in Ballarat, so it's nice to see. So I'll call out to Drew and Will and the under-18 girls who are down there watching this on the big screen. My money's certainly, I'm going to show a bit of bias here, but I look at Toby Elliott here with the ball and how they're running their offence, a lot of execution underway. So it's nice to see how these kids are playing, and they've got a little bit of a buffer, I think, in terms of the score.
Yeah, I think the buffer sort of went out early and it didn't really change. It sort of, North Coast had a bit of a run at them probably towards the back end of the second quarter, but I think the Central Coast just worked into their game plan beautifully.
Yeah, there's some good players in this North Coast side. We were fortunate to go up to Port Macquarie and do a bit of we had a clinic up there and do some work with the Port Macquarie junior side, the under-14s. I think they've got 3 kids in this team. So it's nice to see how they're playing. It's obviously a crackdown offence and on ball. That's a good shot.
Just while that's happening, Ian, I'm just giving the viewers...
There's a big triple. That narrows it back to 9. And there's a lot of full court pressure here, which is pretty... there's another good easy basket. I'd say the Coast have to do a little bit better job in passing the ball and not dribbling the ball through a trap. I'm just watching Brett Murphy, who's in coaching the Central Coast. He's come in to help cover because we've got so many of our coaches involved in the state program that he might have to make a couple of adjustments here to counter the trap.
So on the other court over there with 2 minutes 20 to play, the girls, Central Coast girls, are up 34-28. So you've been keeping an eye on that game as well, Ian?
Well, I have. They had a really good comeback. You know, I was saying to some of the people upstairs in the mezzanine level, it's an easy game if you make some shots. And, you know, I was watching the girls in that second and third quarter. They were a little bit tentative, but then when the shots started to drop, you could see the confidence build. You just watch Katie Bailey make a good pass, and there's another good triple over there by Marnie, and that takes it, you know, takes them out. I think that's 37-28 in the girls' game. So that's a really big basket, a girl that's really improved, and it's just so nice to see. And obviously with the boys, you know, Brett's got a big job trying to get 12 kids on this court in limited time. So it's good experience for them.
Tell me a little bit about 22 here for the Central Coast. He's been shooting the lights out, and also I was telling the viewers that for about 4 hours prior to today's event, I was been setting up for the live stream, and he was here just shooting by himself.
Yeah, well, again, give credit to the coaches for instilling that, the importance of, you know, just getting some extra shots up. But that's Jack Snelling, 22. I've got to say he's had an interesting academy program because he's come back from an injury. That's Big Hugo shooting a triple. That's a bit out of his range. But anyway, Drew will enjoy that one. But good to see Snell making some baskets. Good drive there. Very athletic player in number 15 for the North Coast. Good move by Snelling. Ball behind his back in the 4 spot. Over to Toby Elliott. He's the captain of this group. Get them steadied. On ball. Sean's a younger player. A lot of potential and nice drive. That ball should be taken. You know, you look, sometimes they overpass. They're Snelling on the buzzer. That'll count. He hits a big triple, but defensively, no transition D. So it's just interesting to watch. And the beauty of this live stream is live stream is these players will be able to come back, watch this, you know, watch what the coaches are seeing, and you know, it helps with their improvement. Nice layup, nice stutter step finish at the end by Sean. So it's good experience for them, and just looking at the coach down here for both teams, they're riding their teams pretty hard. On ball by the North Coast, they run some very, very good offense. You can see that. Good cut. And they're posting up quite strong. That's a big shot.
On the buzzer again. That's 2 on the buzzer.
That was a really, really close call. You know, and that's going to happen too. As important as parents are, getting kids to training, there's a different level of expertise required on the bench when you play these games. And both those shots could have been somewhat dubious. It's a bad decision by Jack Snelling. See, he kind of challenged the ball there, but he would have been better protecting the basket. That's a young person's mistake. But
5 points in it.
Yeah, it's a close game. 3 to play. That's a travel. But anyway, he got away with it and then fumbled the ball. So again, ball protection, that's a good pass. That's a better pass. So the North Coast certainly doing very, very well here. And I'm just looking over on that other court as those subs come in. It's quite close over there. The Central Coast at 39, North Coast 32. I can just see Sam Goddard's called a timeout over there, doing a very good job. One of our trainee coaches does a great job with our program. So it's really good experience for our coaches to be exposed to this type of performance. There's another big triple by 21 for the North Coast.
That brings it to 2 points difference now, Ian.
Well, that's what we like. Nice close game. This is where you'll find a team that can execute will do better. That's a tough shot. That's by Max Cooper. And our defensive transition is not happening, meaning that after a shot, how do you protect the fast break? Here's 21 again. That's a good look. That hit the back of the rim.
Yeah, I'd be going again if I hit one the last time. I'd be going again just like he did.
Matt McLean inside. Really, you need to make those shots. He's made the second, padding the stat line, getting the offensive board, and getting the old-fashioned three-point line.
Anybody can go down the easy path.
Here's a lad that's really improved over the program as well. And I think what you're seeing here too is that our program's coming to a close, and talking to Brad Lockwood at the North Coast, their program's really only just begun. So this is a really, really encouraging group that the North Coast have obviously put together. A little bit of a poor pass there, cross-court pass when you should be looking down the line. There's McLean again. You've got to get it a little bit higher out of the hand. There's a foul call. It'll be a baseline ball. And this is a typical mistake at junior level. When a whistle goes, people think it's a time for a breather, stop, get a breath. When the whistle goes, it actually means next play. Get yourself ready for the next play so that you're actually working in front of the defensive side.
We can see over there, Ian, the Central Coast Academy have run out winners on the girls' court over the other side, 39 points to 32. That ended up a close game as well. Yeah,
and again, all credit to North Coast. A good win by the Central Coast, but as I say, I think the North Coast, their program is really on a starting position where we're using the academy games as a full stop to our program.
Yeah, well, John basically from the North Coast said that these boys only actually just got together for one training run before this event.
Yep, which is, all credit to them. They'll go away from this game with a huge amount of encouragement. Whether they win or lose, they've played exceptionally well.
We'll obviously also look for them at the back end of the tournament. If they're actually going to be using these games as experience by the end of the back end of the tournament, they'll be putting it together, I'd imagine.
Well, that's right. Really with a 4-team competition, you play for positioning in the round games, and then you've got your semi-final where you have your crossovers, 1v4, 2v3. So it's important to finish as high up in the pool as you can in those positionings. But see, here's a 2-2-1 trap. They should throw it to the middle of the court, which they've done to McLean, and that opens up other areas. But again, poor turnover, good defence by the North Coast, and they've nearly converted. I actually thought that was that looked pretty good.
So we talk about the age of these boys. These boys are sort of 13, 14.
Yeah, it varies. It will vary. Toby Elliott for a triple. That's probably the sealer.
Yeah, they won't come back. Obviously, will not now. We're back into the low end of the game here with only 10 seconds to go.
But all of these players, good block by Daniel Titus, will be playing in the under-16 level, majority under-16 level in CPL or EJL, so Central Country Premier League or Eastern Junior League, or in the under-14 level. So you'll have top age under 14, bottom age under 16, top age under 16. That's where these athletes generally come from. At full time, an 8-point victory to the home side.
Okay, and let's just wrap up today and have a little bit of a quick chat about tomorrow. Obviously, we started with the opening ceremony, and what are the reports back from the VIPs? Was it a success?
Well, they thought it was very professionally run, professionally managed. They loved the live streaming. It was a great showcasing event for the academies. I think it's really important to immediately start with some action. I've got to show a little bit of bias there that I thought the basketball worked well because we have the forecourt stadium, so all 8 teams could get a run. We could do netball next year because we've got obviously 3 netball courts in this facility. But all in all, it's a fantastic start to the Academy Games and a great experience for these athletes to be able to represent their region.
And we're back tomorrow. I'm not sure whether you're back tomorrow, but the live stream will certainly come back tomorrow. We're kicking off at around about 8:30. We've got a fair few netball games to get through till about 4:30 tomorrow, and then I'm heading to John Hutchinson's final home game for the Central Coast Mariners. But are you going to be back tomorrow, Ian?
I'll be here. I'll be also at Niagara Park where the basketball is being played. I've got to get out to Coimbra Waters to see a bit of golf. I've got to get up to Wyong Hockey Fields for the indoor hockey as well, and the triathlon tomorrow is over at Mingara Recreation Club, so I've got a fairly busy day.
Well, what we do is we're going to just stick a GoPro on your head, and we'll be able to get... Look, I appreciate the opportunity to come and do some live streaming. We'd love to get to the point where, you know, we build on it next year, and by possibly the 3rd year we're going to try and get some sports that haven't had any coverage. So VPA, we're in this with you guys for 3 years, and we want to increase each year, so I appreciate your support. And yeah, thanks for joining me on the mic, because it was going to be a pretty sort of closed out last quarter because I'd actually had nothing else to say.
No, and just a call out to Drew Fenton and Will Granger. They're actually 2 of our coaches with the Central Coast side, who are actually down in Ballarat with the New South Wales under-18 women's side. So I just want to wish Drew and Will every success, and hope that the women team can really play very well down there. So good luck to them, and a lot of those athletes obviously have come through our academy type
And
programs.
I saw an image of somebody watching the live stream in where was that?
I think it's Uluwatu in Indonesia. Was the furthest afield viewer we had on an iPhone. So yep, I love the technology. So to
Okay.
VPA, thank you.
Okay, and we'll call it quits, and we'll see you later.